All right, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eric Anthony Jr. I'm a senior at Midtown High School, and this past 2 months, I was able to attend two internships, one in Chamberlain University and the other one at Georgia Tech. So throughout my life, I always have passion for pursuing in different STEM careers such as healthcare, computer science, engineering, and such. As a person who is a very community oriented individual, I wanted to use STEM as a platform to cultivate change in our society and make improvements in my community and in our society. So coming into both my interns, my learning goals was to demonstrate background knowledge of information and techniques from my supervisors to understand different situations in both career fields in healthcare and engineering, and develop problem solving skills. Now the professional correspondence. So my first intern I was in was the Chamberlain University, the College of Nursing, and during my intern, I was able to talk about different healthcare topics and it was very structured on professional nurses and professional assistants, even though it is open to all professions in healthcare. And during the time, we were able to talk about patient communication, such as aided and SBAR, where we talk about analyzing patients' emotions and be able to have background knowledge of patients, such as whether or not they have any type of symptoms that they have, or um, just be able to communicate with patients with whatever problems that they have. We also being able to learn about the point of view from different healthcare professions. We were able to, because we were in the pandemic, we were unable to go the to the campus. We were and do hands-on activities. We were able to play like simulation games where we play um as different professions such as like clinical nurses or profession assistants, and be able to do different to be in learns about different situations that many healthcare professions go through in a daily basis, and do different types of um, like different roles that they had to do in their daily jobs. So, and we also have one-on-one discussions. I have one-on-one discussions with my supervisor, and have group discussions of my with different other students in the internship, and have be able to do hands-on activities and projects. So during the Georgia Tech intern, it was a 3 day uh, process where we were focused on engineering and sensor installments, and we were able to install temperature and relative humidity sensors inside of the one of the Georgia Tech buildings, and developed. We made improvements on some of the equipment inside of of the labs, such as like the plasma cleaner, and make improvements on the safety and operations. And we do different um, learn about program. We focus on programming and learning about like the different types of programming for us, like continuous and destructive communication, as well as with computer science. Um, and also the different types of signals and human machine interfaces. And right over here, we see, have the business cards where I created, and I basically just develop using Canva. Made the business cards to symbolize both universities and cultivate so develop like the college theme with the colors on here. And here's the workplace culture for both interns. So for the healthcare internship at Chamberlain, we wear they use professionals usually wear formal healthcare attire like the one I'm wearing right now, and wear have they able to wear person like PPE, personal protective equipment, and is a very organized environment where it was able to is very uh, during the time I was in the intern, my supervisor will be sometimes be at home and basically be she or at her profession or inside the campus where she would be in the clinic where she would be able to she would be show the inside of the lab and be able to show uh, basically like organized uh, we organize room where it's like all the equipment is in like each different different in different areas, which will give more easier for professions to get different items. And for the Georgia Tech, you usually wear casual or business attire. And during the when during labs, we usually go to like the chamber rooms, and they would be able to wear also they also wear personal PPE and basically just where they usually during the pandemic they actually double up with the PPE and wear like double gloves and wear like face coverings and basically and be able to like cover access in that they have. And now the workplace, the diversity. So in for both professions, there's like a shortage in or lack of interest as far as like minorities in STEM fields, and basically it we have like it caused people to have we had people who like students who are minorities have like a lack of interest of being in different STEM fields like healthcare or engineering. So it was basically would be like a shortage in those areas, and it would be it's important for having like a diverse community of professions because it will help like patient it will have a better interaction with like the patient and the professions were able to patients will be more comfortable uh, to be able to communicate their problems to professions different professional health yep their healthcare people and communicate and there's also however there's a diversity of knowledge the in different career fields especially in the healthcare field where they will there's different professions that have like various range of um various range of knowledge and be able to share the knowledge to the patients and other professions and communication is very important in treating patients in the healthcare field is very important because of how you interact with um, patients, like I stated before, with the aided and scab communication, where you communicate, be able to communicate with the the patients and it's just maybe have a gathering background knowledge. And of course, there's like restricted rules inside the workplace, of course, for both professions and um, employers. And during the intern, there's always an active um, engagement where where all the students are like who they have communicate we're communicating our thoughts and opinions during topics and networking. So I wasn't able to have um, I didn't able to communicate with a lot of people in both my interns. In fact, I was supposed to be this upcoming week. I was supposed to be We were supposed to have the president for Chamberlain University is supposed to come and talk to us next week to talk about um, the university and different and have different topics to communicate about. So I wasn't able to have a lot of people to um, keep in contact with, but of course the my supervisor, Miss Langham, she was very helpful, especially when we have one-on-one conversations where we talk about different topics. Um, she would really test me of how basically how what I wanted to cultivate as a person, how I wanted to as a person who wants to help a person who be allied to my community, how I'll be able to develop ideas and be able to have this wide range of be able to help my community and be able to have an ally as a person in the medical field. Mr. Thomas Everett, I learned a lot of during the Georgia Tech internship and be able to learn about the ways that um, people in the campus like use to use different equipment to create different prototypes and um, different different prototypes to create to improve things. And as a person who wants to go to Georgia Tech, he's my number one source to go to for if I have any questions. And of course, Miss O'Neill and Miss Stubbs were my monitors because during the Georgia Tech internship, I was supposed to have a supervisor who monitor what's going on, and I was able to have great conversations with both of them and be able to gain knowledge from them and learn about their point of views. So there was a lot of experience that my experience with both internships impact my personal and professional goals. It helped me develop my communication skills, where I was able to communicate with both supervisors and talk about um, different topics and be able to verbally communicate my thoughts and feelings about those things. And during the Georgia Tech internship, I learned about two I words: innovation and improvement, where we be able to improve could be able to improve this certain things in the building and create something to improve something that's inside of, in our society. So that was one thing I learned. Creativity skills, where I developed different projects and be able to be able to create different, thinking out of the box. Where creating different ideas for different projects that I did, such as surgical wound care or like fluid draining and other projects that I did. And problem solving skills, and gain my aspirations and to achieve in a high level to be able to gain my aspirations of pursuing in different healthcare, different STEM fields like healthcare or engineering, and gain a lot of knowledge from other people to be able to be able to have my passion to achieve my personal goals re- to pursue my career goals. And that's it. Any further questions?
Thank you, Eric. Anybody have any questions for Eric?
Yes, I was wondering, did you have one that you particularly preferred, or were they both, like, did they meet your expectations the same way?
So great question. So for me, it both extend my expectations of how I was visualized what the internships was going to be because for a person who did really, I never been in an internship before, so I wasn't really, I was skeptical how it's going to go, and I was like scared of like how it's like the interacting with um, like both my supervisors and why if I was going to gain anything out of those internships, and I gained a lot of knowledge from both supervisors, and it really helped me with be able to like understand different topics that I may not understand about, and just be able to communicate with both of the supervisors to have a lot of like understanding with both professions. So yeah, thanks.
I have a question. So, how did you handle the workload of having 2 internships instead of just one?
Um, so it was pretty easy. So usually for my healthcare profession internship, it was during the weekdays, and for the Georgia Tech internship, it was only 3 days, but it was during the weekend. Georgia Tech internship, it was like 6 hours long, but it was I gained like a lot of um information. It was a lot of like interaction um with with during the intern where instead of because of what have being there for 6 hours long, it can be it can become dull very easily as it can be when we have discussions, it can be almost kind of boring and for a very long time. So it was a lot of time management was very easy for me because it was being able to have um, like certain times that was very that I liked and where I was able to just be able to have having able to both have talk to my two supervisors and have be able to have a time where I was able to interact with them. So that was very important.
Eric, thank you so much for your presentation. Do we have any last questions before we move on to Sophia?
I would just make a quick comment that, Eric, it was 6 hours each day. So,
Yeah,
that was quite a commitment from you as well as our partners at Georgia Tech. But, Georgia Tech has the rule of 3 where it had to be an additional adult on the monitoring the internship. And, it was pretty interesting. I commend you as well as your supervisor at Georgia Tech. So great job.
All right. Great, great, great. Okay, so if everybody could please fill out the evaluation form for Eric, and Sophia, you can go ahead and start setting up for your presentation.
Hi everyone, I'm Sophia Maxim. I'm a junior at Grady High School, and for the past few months, I have been interning with Atlanta Public Schools in the Fine and Performing Arts Department. So my role has been as a fine arts coordinating intern. A fine arts coordinator provides leadership for the district's K-12 visual and performing arts programs. They're responsible for the planning, organizing, and development of visual arts programs. And so visual and performing arts can include art, visual art, music, and theater. But I mainly focused on visual arts aspect. So my learning goals for this internship were 1, to utilize creative thinking and visual communication skills through brainstorming, collaborating on, or executing artistic projects. I worked with APS's marketing director to edit the finalist pieces for the APS Winter Card Contest, and I got to use programs Photoshop and Lightroom, so it was really a good opportunity for me to do hands-on work with those programs. My second learning goal was to open up opportunities for other students in the Fine and Performing Arts program using the unique opportunity that I had been granted. So throughout the course of my internship, I developed and released a art challenge for the district. And I really wanted to create something that I would be passionate and excited about, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. My third learning goal was to develop leadership and communication skills through coordinating project details. So I can definitely say that my confidence and my professional skills has greatly increased as a result of this internship, especially through the art challenge. I really didn't realize how many details and how many factors go into a project of that size, but it gives me experience and knowledge into the kind of work that I would want to be doing in my career. So for the Abstract Expressionism Art Challenge, I created a flyer, and the prompt was the feeling of joy. It's ongoing until February 26th. I'm also going to upload all of the submissions onto an online art gallery exhibition to make sure that everyone's work is recognized. I also created a Google form for students to upload their submissions. Here is a video that I created to give the students more in-depth introduction to the art challenge.
Hi everyone, I'm Sophia M, a student at Grady High School and an intern with the APS Art Department. And I'm so excited to introduce to you all APS's Abstract Expressionism Art Challenge. Abstract Expressionism is a movement where artists use color, shape, form, and brushstrokes to portray subconscious and internal emotions and meaning rather than depicting reality exactly the way it is. Some famous abstract expressionists include Jackson Pollock, Willem de Kooning, Helen Frankenthaler, Joan Mitchell, Vasily Kandinsky, and Arshel Gorky. The prompt for this challenge is to create a piece of abstract expressionist art which embodies the way that you experience and envision joy. Some ways that I would recommend to get yourself inspired and in a creative headspace to visualize the emotion of joy would be to create a list of things that bring you joy, or to listen to upbeat music that brings you joy, such as Vivaldi's Spring. Or Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles. There really is no wrong way to do this challenge. We want to see your individual creative expression and your personal interpretation of the feeling of joy. So have fun, and we can't wait to see your creations.
So I've been really exploring abstract expressionism for my own work for my AP Studio Art portfolio. So I really enjoyed the opportunity to research the movement for this particular project.
Hi everyone, I'm Sophia M.
So this is my business card. I wanted to make it both creative and professional to embody the kind of image that I want to portray of myself. I created this logo of a paint palette because fine arts are my main focus. So I would describe the main values of Atlanta Public Schools as an organization as education, equality of opportunity, diversity, service, innovation, respectfulness, leadership, integrity, and achievement. Dr. Womack, my supervisor, described the typical attire as business casual. This can vary depending on the position, as like a teacher might wear something more casual, like a jeans and a t-shirt, while an administrator might dress in more formal business attire on a daily basis. I would describe the overall workplace environment of APS as professional and focused, but also friendly and supportive. And I think this is a wonderful balance for a workplace to have. APS definitely has a very inclusive workplace and community. They prioritize giving opportunities to people of all backgrounds and skill sets. The first place that I noticed this was in gender diversity. I worked with a lot of female leaders, and I recently wrote a paper on the lack of female art directors. It's around 11%. And that can be really discouraging when I'm looking to go into a field like that. So having female role models in leadership is really inspirational. I also noticed racial diversity in APS, which reflects the racial diversity of Atlanta. And I believe that APS has made steps to ensure that everyone's potential is recognized, especially with their anti-discrimination policy. And that's really cool to see, because in a lot of workplaces, people of color aren't granted the same leadership opportunities. I also noticed professional and skill diversity, because in such a large network, a large variety of skills is required. With the arts program, you have theater, music, and visual arts, and there's sports, and there's academics. And so this variety of perspectives and skill sets is crucial to a school system to run properly. So Dr. Womack was my supervisor for this internship. She's APS's Fine and Performing Arts Coordinator. Dr. Erickson is an elementary school visual arts teacher, as well as an administrative intern at APS. So both Dr. Womack and Dr. Erickson assisted me in finding contacts throughout APS, even at the High Museum, at many different places. And they helped me find the information I needed to execute the art challenge. So I would definitely love to work with them on a project similar to the art challenge in the future, such as possibly an art supply drive, or I know that Dr. Erickson has an art gallery for the students coming up. I think that would be awesome. And Mr. Goodman is APS's multimedia and brand design director. So I had a conversation with him about his experience in not only education, but also in film and entertainment. And he really showed me how important it is to have, when you're going into the arts industry, to have a variety of skill sets and knowledge and backgrounds. And I definitely want to have another conversation with him. I'm working on a feature-length film with my friends right now, and I think he'd be a great person to go to for advice in that regard. Charlotte Napper is APS's lead designer, and I would like to work with her on a design opportunity or project in the future, and possibly have a conversation with her about her work experience and like in the design industry. And finally, Mr. Brandhorst is a visual arts teacher at Grady High School. He has been a mentor to me. He's my go-to person for any kind of art-related advice. And he is always finding opportunities and connections for students. So I definitely would go to him if I want to find an opportunity such as this one in the future. I'm thinking possibly of doing an internship with the High Museum this summer. And I know he would be a good connection there. All right. Thank you all for listening. If you'd like to ask me any questions, I would love to answer them. I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you so much, Sophia. Does anybody have any questions?
I was just wondering, so you mentioned that the art contest you'd started is still going on until February. So will you be continuing your internship as a whole, or just monitoring that until then?
That has been like the bulk of my work recently. So I think I'll be continuing my internship. I know there are other opportunities for me with APS. So I'm not really sure what the end date is at the moment, but definitely can finish up this project, and I know we have a couple other ones and stuff.
That's neat.
Thank you.
What kind of organizational work goes into making a contest like that? I mean, I assume it's more than just making a Google form and sending it out to some people.
Right. So that's kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking I'd just make a little flyer, just throw it together, and then I realized it was going to be a district-wide thing, and I really wanted to like perfect it. And I didn't realize how many details. I was thinking I could do probably most of it myself, but I needed to know like the deadline got pushed back many times, and that was stressful. But then we adjusted, and it ended up working out really great, I think. And we had to figure out the prizes. So the prize for this challenge is an artist prize pack from Binders, I think, or from an art store. And I've gotten a lot of questions about students asking if they can create music pieces or if they can create videos. And those are all things, it's hard for me to answer those questions myself. So I've definitely needed my supervisors to help answer some of those questions.
So my question is, what was the most surprising thing about your internship?
That's a good question. I think one of the most surprising things was how willing everyone was to help find new connections and help share their experiences, and how just supportive the entire APS environment really was.
So you said you started the art contest. Was that like your own independent project, or like did you just decide to do that as a thing for your internship, or did someone did you like collaborate with someone to start making it?
Well, I came up with a couple project ideas for a proposal, because I was thinking I didn't really have any particular project, and it seemed like I had a lot of flexibility. So I was thinking I would take advantage of that, and I proposed 2 project ideas to Dr. Womack, so the art contest and the art supply drive, and the art contest was the one that I ended up going with first, at least. And they definitely guided me along the way, but the whole proposal was initially my idea.
It's really cool. Thank you.
Sophia, thank you so much for your presentation. If there are no further questions, I think everybody should be able to fill out their evaluation forms and submit those, and we can pass the floor on over to Makayla in just one moment.
Good job, Sophia.
Okay, let's see if I can remember how to do this. All right, can you all see everything?
We can see your, yep, there you go, perfect.
Okay, perfect. And you guys can hear me just fine? Cool. So my name is Makayla S. I'm a senior at, is my camera on? It doesn't say it's on.
It's not. Now you are.
All right, restarting. So my name is Makayla S. I'm a senior at no longer grading high school. And this is my internship capstone presentation for Norman Farms Physical Therapy. So basically a little precursor. Norman Farms is a family-owned clinic in Jersey, Georgia, and they specialize in pediatric physical therapy using horses, which I thought was really cool, and I had never heard of that before. So my official title was intern, and the majority of the time that I was there, I was FaceTiming with Lauren, my supervisor, and just watching her sessions with patients and stuff. Before we even started getting to do that, though, we worked on our internship learning contract, which was a big deal to us, and we kept going back to that when we were trying to figure out things to do. And so my big 3 goals were to be able to describe to Lauren and really know what it actually looked like to be a physical therapist. So that means like daily routine, what a session looked like, stuff like that. I really also wanted to know what I needed to be a physical therapist. So like what kind of degrees do I need to start with, like schools that I should look at, stuff like that. And she really helped me with that too. And then I also, by the end of it, wanted to know if I wanted to further pursue the career of physical therapy, because it was something I was thinking about before this internship. So this is my HIPAA contract, I think it's called. And so this, I had to sign this so that I was able to look at patient sessions and stuff, because that's normally a big no, like that violates doctor-patient confidentiality. And so I had to sign this and say, I'm not going to talk about these people outside of this internship with Lauren. And that meant that I couldn't take pictures of patients specifically. However, I did get some from their Facebook because, you know, parents sign off and all that stuff. So legally it's okay. This is Lauren in the blue shirt with her daughter. And this is one of the pictures I got from Facebook. And so basically the daily life of a PT, or the daily life of Lauren, because this isn't a like normal PT job. So there'd be about 1 hour sessions per patient, and every session it would be different exercises. So they'd hop them on the horse. Obviously she's holding their back to make sure that they're okay, and you could take them off real quick if something happens. They had these little rings, as you can see on her arm, and they would do exercises stretching arms and things like that, which is really good because most of these kids don't get those kind of stretches normally. And just being on the horse itself kind of stimulates their like hips and stuff, which is really good. So treatment plans normally vary, especially at Norman Farms, because they don't have the typical, you know, clinic. But most of the time, treatment sessions last about like an hour, like I said, and then it takes 6 months for them to like get healed or whatever. After sessions, Lauren puts all her information into like files, and she sends them to insurances and as records and stuff like that, which she showed me how to do, which was a lot of work. Education requirements, which was going back to our goals. You need about 7 years, and the starting salaries in Georgia specifically vary a lot, but it's normally about like 68,000 to 75,000. I spent a lot of time actually looking at PT schools because that was something I cared about, and like requirements. So you need to take 8 hours of anatomy, stuff like that. And then I also really liked PT, and it's something that I really am excited about, is that you can go into PT schools as a general PT, which means you could pretty much do anything, which I like because I don't like making decisions. But if you want to get paid more, you can specialize in something like vestibular PT, which is basically looking at ears and stuff, which I was like, oh my gosh, there's PT for ears. Would I like to pursue this career further? I think so. I mean, I really, really liked it. I got really excited when I was able to take this internship in the first place because it was exactly really what I wanted to do. And it was so beneficial, and I got to see everything, and it just got me so excited to pursue physical therapy further. How has it affected my personal life? This was one of the prompts in the rubric, and I honestly can't stop talking about it, which is such a good sign in my opinion, because I've taken internships before and that wasn't the case. And so being able to actually like talk to people like outside of physical therapy and make new friends and watch someone get hurt and be like, oh my God, their leg they got to do this and this and this. It's just something I'd never experienced before. And I can't stop talking about it. Even at my job, I'm a waitress. I just tell everyone about it who's willing to listen. Would I like to continue this internship? Absolutely. I loved it so much. Lauren and I got along really well. The whole thing was super casual. She dressed casual. I dressed casual, which is my favorite kind of internship. I got to meet her whole family, and they were all super welcoming. And despite the circumstances, she created an amazing learning environment, and it was really fun. Like I didn't think that I was gonna have fun staring at my screen all day watching someone, but it was really fun. The one disadvantage that I really didn't like, and I think a lot of people can agree with me when we say that we wish it could have been in person, just because I think I could have developed a lot better of an experience. Honestly, that's not really, it was out of everyone's control. No one could really help that. So that was the only disadvantage. And if I think that wasn't a factor, then it would have been like 10 times better. And this is my business card. I tried to make it like similar to Lauren's logo, which is very simple, like horse design. And this is like their phone number and address and stuff like that. And that's everything. Do we have any questions?
Makayla, you talked a little bit about workplace culture. Can you tell us a little bit more about the diversity that you experience within the internship, or just within the PT field?
So, diversity wise, it was kind of hard to even answer that question because the business is family owned, which means it's just Lauren. And so in that experience, it's very not diverse. And I didn't even really get to make a lot of business connections or anything like that because it was just Lauren. But generally speaking, PT is more female than male, and I think it's pretty diverse from what I've seen. It's pretty diverse, but not from this specific internship. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions?
Well, I was just wondering, where did you say like the PT was located again?
Jersey, Georgia. It's South Georgia. It's like 2 hours away. So I think if I was in person, it would be very difficult to get there, like after school and stuff. But
Yeah, that was going to be my question because you said that was a disadvantage that it had to be virtual. But I was thinking, well, you probably wouldn't have gotten to do it. So I guess that's just another way to.
Yeah, exactly. Win-lose kind of thing. I mean, if it was closer, it would have been great, but.
Did any patients like not want you to like be there in the FaceTimes? Or like, did you ever run into problems?
No, everyone was super nice. The thing is, all these are children, and the age variance is from like 2 years old to I think the oldest patient was about 13 or 14. And so I actually needed the parents' permission. And so right before every session, they would drive up to Lauren's like backyard or whatever, and Lauren would be like, "Hey, I got a high school internship or intern here. Can they watch?" And the parents would always be like, "Yeah, absolutely." And sometimes they'd even hold the phone for me so that I could like watch and stuff.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Does using horses in physical therapy make it complicated? Like if you have a patient who doesn't want to ride a horse or is afraid of them, or a horse who gets spooked by something?
So I'm going to answer the second question first. So these horses are like very, very well trained. Otherwise, they wouldn't even consider putting little kids on them. And so the way that Lauren holds them is her like forearm is on their back, and she's like, so they don't like fall off and stuff. And so in case the horse does get spooked or something happens, she can just pull them off right away. And then your first question was, what if they don't want to get on the horse or they're scared? They have these like they have other things that they can do besides ride horses. So you can just get on a saddle and like a wooden thing, and you can do the stretches that way, or they have other stretches that are just like on the floor, or exercises where you can run with the horse. So you don't always need to be on the horse.
I have a quick question.
Yeah,
I was
go ahead.
wondering, why do you think that this particular profession appeals to you so much?
So I've always been super interested in like the medical field, and then also helping people, but I was like, shoot, I don't really want to go to school for like 10 years, and then I'm not very good with like gory stuff. And so it's been a long process of me looking at like, okay, what can I do to help people that also is interesting to me? And I found physical therapy, and I was like, heck yeah, I don't really have to deal with blood, and I can still help people, and it's still sciencey. This is perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Anything else?
Well, Makayla, thank you for your presentation. Does anybody have